Hey guys, Jay-Sensei here again. This is going to be What If Invincible Awakens Powers, Part 2. Now, the story starts off like we already did Part 1. This is just number 2. So, I think I last left off with covering how Mark's relationship is with the Guardians and how he is not invincible yet, instead he is Omni-Kid. If you want to scale current Invincible, how strong he is, maybe the Mauler twins. He's probably about on par with them as a duo. Like, he get folded by the Immortal, but he lands some good blows. So, yeah. But at this point, the Immortal isn't a fraud. He's actually like a... He hasn't lost every friend he's had and hasn't gone insane. Or just simped for a girl who is literally thousands of years younger than he is. So, yeah. So, we move on, and we get to Mark having a normal day, so to say. Mark had finished school early, let's say it was early release. Like anything to with superpowers, he figured he'd go fight some crime, stopping other heroes, stuff like that. He decided to go check in with, let's say, Darkwing. And he flew off just to Midnight City. This was a quick flight away after all. He could make it there in like 5 minutes. Before he had a full boost to just dart at speed of sound 5 states away, he ended up flying over, well, a highway fight. 4 grotesque figures that were melting, shifting, and sorting their bodies, but they were really small, like kids. And they were adapting to their surroundings and they were using everything around them like weapons. But in front of them was a girl, no older than him, in a pink suit standing her ground. And one of the creatures snarled and called her Phase 1, while the girl called herself Atom Eve. Atom, Eve, not Adam, Atom. Yeah. So Mark immediately would turn on the sky, his backpack flying on top of a nearby building, and his suit on. Last edition, domino mask. But if you guys forgot what his suit looked like, literally look at Oliver's, but give it Omni-Man's color scheme. That's all it is. It's just Omni-Man's color scheme on Oliver's suit. That's all Mark has. So it's not that complicated. I just didn't want to draw it. So, yeah. Mark flew in, and the creatures call themselves Phase 2, 3, 4, and 5. Mark jumped in, and one of the phases is attached his arm to basically kind of like bricks, or just like rubble, and swung it at Eve. Eve was going to use a bubble to protect herself, but Mark would quickly fly in and just swat it away like it's nothing, as it kind of wasn't. It didn't really affect him. Mark looked at her and said, "You need some backup?" Eve's eyes widened and said, "Wait, you're Omni-Kid." And this one, part of Eve's inspiration for being a hero is, well, Mark. He's like the only famous kid hero. Like, any kid hero around the world, or wants to be a kid hero around the world, Mark is their inspiration. He is the biggest. He's Omni-Man's sidekick. He is not just based in, I think they're actually in Chicago. He's not based in Chicago. He goes wherever Omni-Man goes, or wherever Omni-Man says he can go. Like, if you're like, Mark, Canada, let's go. Mark goes to Canada. So, whatever Mark says, that's where he goes. So, yeah. Now, he busted forward, throwing a punch at Phase 3's chest, but his body morphed and absorbed the impact before counterattacking. Mark pretty quickly would just swat his arm hard and splatter them against each other, but they quickly reform. Because he can tell they're reforming, so he made sure they can actually do it. He didn't suppress the phases, that Mark's actually willing to make sure they don't die. He just wants to make sure they're incapacitated. He doesn't want them dead, though. But, Mark said they weren't strong, but they're definitely stable. He was struggling against Phase 5, and she says that you can handle it. Mark just says, if you're handling it, you're not doing good at it. Eve huffed, but the fight just got more intense. When the morphed beings would bind broken glass and kind of turn into a spiked mace. It's waiting for a kill shot on Eve. Mark would quickly just throw like a giant brick and blow apart the arm. Now, when Eve does try to land a blast would kill one of them, Mark would pretty quickly jump him in the way and try to take the blast on his back, which did sting a little bit, but more like being slapped hard, not like I got blasted by a laser. Mark just told her that he was taught to not judge who dies, so he's not going to let her do that either, especially because she's some rookie. She'd be punished for it. So, with Mark knowing already Eve would land kill shots, just simply tells Eve, make sure civilians are up the bridge. You go do that. I'm going to handle the fight, and when you come back, if they aren't already beaten, then we can fight together. Until that, you focus on just evacuating. Eve was annoyed, but she can't really deny Omni-Kid. Plus, he's showing he can handle his own against all of them pretty well, including her. Now, this fight goes in, and a car pulls up, and an older man gets out in red clothes, clearly homeless. So he's waiting at the battle. While Mark was handling all the phases, Eve was focused on evacuating. And the man, Dr. Elias Brandyworth, tells Eve to run. And the creatures all look at him, hatred filled in their voices. Or their voices full of hatred. And they say, you're the reason we look like this. And Brandyworth just simply says, I had nothing to do with you. They tried to use my research, and they made you, and they failed. Because they got rid of me, and I had to leave, because, I wasn't really obeying the law. What else? Because I wasn't obeying the law, I had to go, and then that kind of ended with, you guys being made. But, eventually, it comes down to, I would say the fight just continues with Mark trying to hold them off and make sure they don't die, but he kind of fails as they do start to die slowly. Phase 2 and 3 being the last one to currently survive, but barely. Now, with that, Brandyworth eventually just tells if you put a block in her head so that she can't, she can't affect organic matter. That's why she can't stabilize them. She did want to stabilize them if they were dying. But when Eve is like, wait, there's a block in my head? And it's like, yeah, it's mental, it keeps you from rewriting organic matter. So it's a fail-safe, because I didn't know if they were there and then they were going to take you someday or not. Mark's eyes just narrow, and he felt like they're just that was a piece of crap. That was not Brandyworth, they're just something like a lie, or at least not an important block. So with that, he looked over to Eve and simply told her, then overcome it. You can't call yourself a hero if some block is going to stop you forever. And Brendan kind of thought about it, saying, it is a mental, the block is there, but even if it's a mental one, then, it should be able to be overcome. So he's just kind of goading Eve, kind of trying to coax her power out of her. Which is actually a bit of more empowering blast, things like that. Then something inside Eve would snap. Pause. And something inside Eve snapped. She let out another big wave of energy, but it encased her, Mark, and Dr. Brandyworth. And then it hit Phase 2. Phase 2 thought he was going to be killed, but then he looked at himself. He looked normal, very normal. He had normal blonde hair. He had normal eyes. He looked like a normal kid. But then he looked around at Phase 3 and 4. Or, actually, no, just Phase 3, because 4 and 5 after they died. Looked at 3, who had only gotten her leg in the blast. She jumped away, thinking it would kill her, while Phase 2 was just too close to jump away. And with that, Eve would rush over, asking her why she moved. She wasn't going to hurt her. But Phase 3 just said, I couldn't tell. All they see is Phase 3, and then just melt and die. Well, in Phase 3, would just pass out, stabilizes a being, he looks normal. He's just not used to the way he looks. But then, a convoy of vehicles arrive. Black SUVs, men in suits, and some in military uniform, guns drawn. And they're guns at Eve Brandyworth, in Phase 2. One man tried to make his move, saying, their government property, hand them over. And when he went to Mark grabbed him by the vest and literally flinging him into the car, toppling the car over. Casually just doing that. So, yeah. And he just said, she's a kid, not a weapon. Or property. But the leader of the group, a man in a black suit, just said, he's classified. You don't understand what you're interfering with, Omni Kid. Mark simply struck his knuckles, and he knew he could drop all of them if it came down to it. And judging by how their triggers twitched, they knew it too. Or fingers twitched. Yeah. But then, they decided to play a trump card, at least on Brandyworth. Polly is alive. And that led to the whole same sequence of Brandyworth being meant that Polly's alive. She was supposed to be dead. But the way they're describing her, she's a brain dead bitch. She's in a vegetative state. Which is not helpful to anyone. So, that Brandyworth tried to lunge forward, but Marco pulled him away, they fling him back to the ground. And somebody tells him, they want you to lose it. They want you to have an excuse to kill them. Which, Mark just said, they want an excuse to kill you. Or they want an excuse to take you in custody and use you again. But the Pollyworth noticed something. Mark had his hand behind his back, and he was typing something. And with that, he would notice Mark sent a text. And it was kind of bad, but it vaguely spelled out HWLPP, which is just a typo on help. And was sent to a man named Yosef. But then a blur ripped through the scene. A streak of red. Red Rush had appeared. And right beside them, he wasn't alone. Cecil Stedman, head of the GDA, would step in, as he would teleport. Pause. So when Cecil was teleported in, he would just say, "Alright, gentlemen, let's talk about what you think you're doing here." And the air went tense. Omni Kid wasted no time, as he was being talking to Red Rush at the speed of sound. Or close to it. About the phases, the Eve's block, Brandyworth's pass, and Thane's powers as well, and how the government is involved. He said everything he could pick up on with context clues and what's happening. The Russian simply nod along, unfazed, processing every word with ease. If Mark stuttered, he would then kind of piece it together. In his usual calm voice, he would relay everything to Cecil, pretty casually. So Cecil just nodded and said, "Alright, I've heard enough." And then with his fingers, a small militia of GDA agents would appear, previously wearing invisible stealth technology. The usual ones we see them wear. And before the government agents could react, gunfire erupted. All of them being mowed down in an instant. Right to the pavement, their vehicles smoked, sparked, and had bullet holes. Cecil would barely flinch, and then he looked to Red Rush. The hesitation he would order. "Let us be to use and get rid of the bodies in the cars. I don't care how or where, but I'll pay you. Now do it." Rush would just nod and call him bossy. Or at least the equivalent of a bossy asshole in French. Or Russian. Yeah, Russian. And the name Yosef threw me for a loop for a second. I don't know why. I don't think it's French. Yeah, but Russian. Because canonically he is Russian. But yeah, regardless of that, Rush would vanish, and within about a minute, everything was cleaned up. The bodies, the wreckage, everything. Gone. So yeah. Okay. So, with this, Cecil would look at Brandyworth and Omni Kid, and he would just tell us, "Mark, hold on to the girl and the blonde kid." And then he would kind of just jab his thumb at even the now human phase 2, or more human phase 2. And then with that, he would look at Brandyworth and Mark holds on to them, making sure they don't, fall or just get hurt in any way. And he would look at Brandyworth and just say, Brandyworth, forget those damn things off the freeway, then talk to me. So that Brandyworth would do so, and once he's done, and the bodies, or what remained of them, are in a bag. And he would simply just tell him that, you're working for the GDA now. That brain years is too good to waste. He's dumpster diving for food and just necessities. So with that, Brandyworth swallowed hard. Before he could argue, Cecil would add. And before you open your mouth, yeah, we'll take care of whoever that Polly chick is. I'll make sure she's the best treatment we can afford, or the best funeral we can afford, depending on what you want. Brandyworth would nod, and Cecil's gaze would sharpen, and just tell him, either way, we all win. Or at least, I do. Because you're staying with me. Or you're staying with the GDA. Now, with Polly's fate, there was no miracle no one was going to save. She had practically been brain dead for 12 years, trapped to a body without limbs. That's not life. That was not living. Brandyworth made the decision to pull the plug, and her suffering would end quietly. No spectacle, no fanfare, just long overdue peace, to be honest. But Phase 2, now called Ethan and Eve, would all get to meet her properly. All Brandyworth thinks when they meet her is that, I'm sorry you could see her like this and not when she was prettier. But Eve and Ethan both just say, she's pretty now. Now, Brandyworth, once a quote-unquote disgraced scientist, now held a comfortable position under the GDA. No more hiding, no more taking food. He was also brilliant too to waste. But that didn't mean he was free. He still had plans. Cecil always had plans. And part of that plan were Brandyworth and Eve. No, it wasn't corrupt plans, at least not yet, but it was to make sure that Eve could be a hero a lot more often. And so Cecil would pay a visit to Eve's parents, which I believe are, I can actually Google their names. I don't know if I got them right. I wrote the script so long ago. Adam, Eve, and her parents, Adam and Betsy Wilkins. So yeah, they indirectly adopted her. So yeah. So they tried to say that Eve was their daughter and she wasn't going to be dragged into some government program. But Cecil shut that down instantly, saying, "This is not up for debate. I'm putting custody between you and Brandyworth, her actual dad. When she's with him, she'll be studied to make sure her powers will go out of control and she'll be a hero. Powers like that would be wasted." So, yeah. So, with this eventually turns into just Eve getting to live with parents who actually love her and her powers, not just the fact she's somewhat human. Her parents tried to fight back, but Shirley would basically barely raise his voice and just say, You think I need your permission? Either work for me, or I can make this very, very difficult for you. I can have you killed, I can have you arrested, because this is not your baby. I can just have her take it. I can do whatever I want with you and her, and no one will bat an eye, because I'm Cecil Stedman. So with that, immediately his parents kind of back down, because he's right. Now Phase 2's new life. Or, as I said before, his name was Ethan, and his hero name is Forge. Because honestly, I was watching a bit of Young Justice on this, and I think a personality of Forager would fit this guy well. Like Forager, or Forager. Forager. The giant beetle thing. I love him so much. So his real name is now Ethan Brandyworth. You get given a birth certificate, all of that. But he went by Forge or Forager, which I'm sure I have it as Forager everywhere but here. Yeah, Forager. So Ethan would live with Brandyworth, and by his arrangement, he would attend the same school as as Mark. And then Eve would be transferred to that school as well. So, yeah, Omni Kid, Adam Eve, and Forager. And Mark actually had an idea for them, because Forger's powers were very similar to a hero he knew, that being Martian Man. With that, Mark ended up reaching out to him, and Martian Man would agree to take on Ethan. And then Eve would actually join in as well. So they agree to, well, not they agree to, Martian Man agrees to train them. So, with this, Mark or even Ethan weren't going to be just sidekicks. They were going to learn from someone who saw heroism as a duty, not a title or something to be. That's kind of just it, actually. Yeah. But you fast forward to Mark 17. I'm going to the title of Omni Kid. The world now knew him as Invincible. His reputation was unmatched among the young heroes. He wasn't the most famous, but he was everywhere. The face of the next generation, a celebrity in his own right. Unlike Omni-Man, he actually engages in PR, making sure people trusted heroes like him more than feared them or were curious. The only thing they were curious about was his secret identity. Other than that, as a hero, he had no secrets. But hope you guys enjoyed. Like and subscribe for more. So if you guys remember my computer beeping last second, it scared the shit out of me. I jumped, but I kept going. But yeah, this is going to be the end of this part. Hope you guys enjoyed. Adios.